I'm so nervous for this video. Wow. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I've been putting off this video for a very long time. This is definitely a different type of video, but one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start my channel in the first place. So I'm scared. Clearly this isn't something that I talk about often to the public. Obviously my friends and family are aware, and I talk to them about it from time to time. I'm here to talk to you about sickle cell disease and what it is, how it affects me. And I also asked on Instagram for y'all to send me some questions that you had in regards to my illness, and I have a bunch of them. I put them down on my iPad so that I can answer those in this video. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry in this video. Let's see if that works. I don't know where to begin. Okay, so sickle cell disease, SS. So awkward. This is so scary. How do people do this? Okay, so what is sickle cell? Sickle cell is basically, I'm gonna put it in easy terms for y'all, but basically, you know how red blood cells are like circular and malleable, and they obviously transport oxygen throughout your body to your organs and all of that kind of good stuff. So a lot of my red blood cells are sickled, meaning that they look like kind of like a crescent moon, so like a C shape, and they are hard and they have trouble when trying to transport oxygen throughout my body. So in my blood vessels, they will get stuck, and that will cause tons of complications. The biggest thing that we do deal with are pain episodes or pain crises. So I've been having those since I was very young. My mom said I got my first one when I was like 6 months old, and they knew that something was wrong. To kind of backtrack a little bit, both my parents have the sickle cell trait, and my older sister Alexandra, has the trait as well. So basically after they had her, they were like, listen, they, as in the doctors, were like, listen, like if you have another kid, they're most likely gonna come out with sickle cell, like the full-blown disease, which I did. My parents took that chance anyways, and they had me, and I did come out with the disease, and it's something that I've been dealing with my whole life. So another thing to mention is that yes, they do get stuck, but along with that, they also die way like faster than regular red blood cells. So I'm always lacking like good blood in my body to transport oxygen and make sure that everything is good. First of all, pain crises are different for every sickle cell patient. Some get it way worse, some get it, a little better, some last longer, some don't. You can feel it like when it's gonna come on, and some just come out of nowhere. For me, most of the time they just come out of nowhere. Like I have no control over when they come. We do get fatigued way easier than normal people. So I'm usually tired. I'm usually, my back will hurt, or, all that kind of good stuff. But when I do get a pain crisis, like I know, and I'm pretty sure everyone out there with sickle cell knows, just like me. Like you know that something is wrong and something is not normal. The pain is 10 times worse. Like I don't know why, but for me, they always come on at night while I'm sleeping. So I'll wake up and I will be in like crazy pain, like crying and, calling out for my mom if she's here. Obviously at Stony Brook, it was a whole different ball game, and that's a story for another time. I could talk about how I dealt with that those 5 years at Stony Brook. It was tough. It was definitely different than how it was dealing with it here at home. It was, a new hospital. It was me living on my own and having to, you know, call the ambulance on my own and go to the hospital on my own. And that was something that was hard for me. But again, I think it just made me stronger and I learned a lot from it. So usually my pain crisis will last around 2 weeks. I will wake up, crazy pain, call out for my mom or call the ambulance myself. Usually I'm like panicking. I don't really like to speak when I'm in that much pain. My pain is usually in my back and my legs. So sometimes I will wake up and I can't even, like, I can't get out of bed, like I can't move. So that was like an issue at Stony Brook when I lived in a single, because the ambulance would come and they couldn't open my door. Saint is growling at someone at the door. Usually I will not want to speak just because it takes so much energy out of me. But yeah, so I'll call the ambulance, get in there, tell them I have sickle cell, you know, they know the drill immediately. IV, liquids, fluids running through me, pain medicine, harsh narcotics. That's literally what gets me better. Some other complications that I do get, and I know a lot of other sickle cell patients get, are acute chest syndrome. That is not fun. Listen, not fun at all, and I've had it multiple times. I pretty much almost get it every time that I have a crisis and I'm in the hospital. I either get that or that along with pneumonia, which obviously leads to acute chest syndrome. I'm not even gonna go into detail, but basically I have a really hard time breathing. Give me like the incentive spirometer to like open my lungs up. That hurts like hell. And antibiotics, blood transfusions, which obviously they will just give me donated blood, which would increase the amount of good blood or normal blood cells in my body, which would counteract my crisis. Another thing that really sucks, which I've dealt with a couple of times, I had it twice in my college experience, and I believe once when I was younger, which are exchange transfusions. That's when you're like borderline about to die. Yeah, I had one when I was very, very little. I think I was 5 years old. I had a crisis and I was in the hospital for like 3 months and it wasn't getting better. They told my parents it was like this is pretty much it. But I ended up surviving. I'm here. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. And then it happened in college. So basically an exchange transfusion is when they put a tube in one of your major arteries or veins or something like that, which is by your hip bone. They put a tube in there that comes out into 2 different tubes. One of them extracts blood from me and the other one puts blood in me. So that's usually when my hemoglobin is at 0, like when I'm not doing good at all. They, you know, put me in the ICU and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so now that I'm done with like the explanation of what sickle cell is and the kind of like awkward, uncomfortable part of this video, I do want to talk about like how I manage my pain. A couple things that I do that I'm pretty sure everyone with sickle cell does to hopefully prevent these pain episodes. We do have to drink a lot of water. Like I'm always drinking water every day because obviously drinking water creates new blood. So that's like good, staying hydrated. Eating good food, like as much as I don't do this, it's pretty important to have good nutrients in your body. Yeah, some other things that I do, I will, if I am in pain, you know, lay down and rest with like a heating pad on the areas. I will put on like, what's that called? Bengay or icy hot, any type of like muscle relaxing things on the area. I do try and just sleep it off, but most of the time it won't work. I also take hot baths. Yeah, again, these are just things that I do like in the meantime. Obviously these don't really work if I'm like in a really bad crisis. I immediately just have to go into the hospital. yeah, obviously with COVID, like this has been different and a little harder because like I am terrified to go into the hospital now. I go for my appointments and I'm like anxious to be there because I'm just scared that I'm gonna catch COVID. Obviously COVID would not be good for sickle cell patients. We already have so many complications and my immune system is already trash, so like gotta avoid that. I have, on the bright side, not gotten sick since February, like not been hospitalized since February. So next month it'll be a whole year since you know, being in the hospital. I did have a crisis in June or July, sometime this summer, and my fear like didn't let me go to the hospital. Like I literally, like it lasted almost a month, almost 4 weeks, and I just like rested it out and kind of dealt with it with like my medicine here, with like my pills and like drinking water and like everything else I mentioned. Now I am gonna answer some of the questions that people on Instagram asked me in regards to sickle cell and how I deal with it. So question number 1: how do you keep yourself motivated on your worst days? So if I'm being honest, I think it's just like the few friends that I do have that are really just supportive and always there for me and don't make me feel like something is wrong with me. And they're always just there if I need to talk. If I don't want to be alone, they are just always there for me. I think that, along with like my creativity and everything that I do with that. So now YouTube, like being distracted with YouTube, planning out videos, or my new business that I'm working on, which should be out soon, with my art and painting and digital design, and back when COVID wasn't a thing, you know, dance at school. I was part of the Latin dance team, my sorority, you know, keeping myself busy has always helped me just distract myself and make me feel like I'm normal and like accomplished, because I was doing so much, and I still do a lot in life. Another person, one of my sisters actually, she asks, what's the best thing your friends and family can do to support you when you're in pain? So I would say definitely feel out the vibes, because sometimes I just don't want to talk. Like sometimes, and I don't, you know, I don't mean to be rude or come off as rude. Sometimes I'm just in so much pain that I don't want to talk to anyone. But if I am in the mood to talk, you know, just talk to me. Talk to me about what's going on. Come visit me at the hospital if, you know, COVID allows. Being alone in there is definitely like not fun, and like I wouldn't wish that on anyone, like going through that alone. My mom does work, so a lot of the time I will be there alone with like the nurses and like people in child life, because I am still, well, now here in the city I'm an adult, but even at Stony Brook, like I would still get hospitalized in the children's part, just because they had like a great hematology team and like knew what they were doing with sickle cell patients. So I definitely am very grateful for those nurses and, you know, the child life team that always made sure I had like activities to do, would come in and check on me, because being there alone is not fun while your friends are in class and my mom is in the city at work, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. They literally just be there for me and don't act like nothing is wrong. I feel like a lot of the time, it's been like, this is hard to talk about. A lot of the time I feel like because I get sick so often and I'm like, I bounce back so fast, because that's how sickle cell works. Like I saw this interview once, basically said that sickle cell gave him kind of like a mental disorder, because he, you know, would be so sick one week and then the next week be fine with his friends, and it kind of made him feel like weird. And I have experienced, you know, friends or people in my life, obviously not in my life anymore, who have just like downplayed my health or like my crisis, have said that I've like used it for like attention, or that I look for attention when I'm sick, or that I like want pity from people, or like stupid stuff that is clearly not true. Yeah, so I brushed those people off, cut them out of my life, because if you don't take time to understand how you can help me in my health, you don't deserve to be in my life. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. I think that people don't realize the severity of my illness, and it's not talked about as much as it should be, because people just don't care about it as much. If we're being honest, this does come from African descent, so like these white doctors and white nurses do not care. And I think that that's why the world is so unaware. Even though sickle cell affects a lot of people, you wouldn't even know, because it is something that you can't physically see on me and everyone else. People don't really know about it, and that's a big reason why I wanted to start this channel and talk about it on this channel. Because I remember, like, growing up, I would always YouTube. I love YouTube since I was little. Bethany Moda days, you know, I used to watch my girl. But I would also like look up videos like sickle cell this, sickle cell that, trying to find somebody out there with sickle cell that I can kind of watch or get tips from, or like see how they deal with it and not feel like alone in that sense. And I would never find anybody. So I was like, yo, like, let me get on YouTube and talk about it. Because what if somebody out there with sickle cell is researching and wants to find me and find out what I do, and see that, like, I don't let sickle cell define me, and that along with everything else that I do in life, like, I will never let sickle cell stop me from going after my goals. What's something people often get wrong about sickle cell, or what are some common misconceptions? One big one that I don't understand, but everyone, like, when I was little, I used to get bullied all the time. People would like when the teacher would like mention it so that kids were aware, like, people would like get away from me and think that it was contagious. Like, I can't cough and give you sickle cell. Like, it's literally hereditary. So like, that was always weird to me. People often say like it's just anemia, which is definitely not the case. You can be anemic and, you know, but there's a huge difference between that and someone with sickle cell. Somebody asks, does sickle cell affect you in your everyday life? So yes, it definitely does. A lot of the time I'm just tired, and it takes a lot more out of me to do regular things like, you know, get out of bed and work out or go to class, stay up late studying. Stuff like that is definitely hard. I remember growing up, like, I was always that kid that couldn't go swimming with my friends, couldn't go ice skating with my friends, because those were all risks, you know. The weather, like extreme weather conditions, going into the pool and getting out and having that cold wind hit my body, immediate crisis. Like, it was just bad. That, along with like ice skating, I would always be cold. My biggest crises would always happen in the winter time. So that was always really tough, not being able to, like, I remember one time, I was with my cousins. I was at my titi's house, Titi Nadia, if you're watching this, hey. I was at my titi's house back when they lived in the Bronx. And I remember all my cousins were there, and it was Christmas time, and, like, thank God I have the greatest aunt ever, because she stayed inside with me and we made cookies and I felt, you know, good. But all my cousins were outside, like, building snowmen and, like, snow angels and all that fun stuff that you're supposed to do as a kid in the snow that, you know, I wasn't allowed to do. My mom would, like, literally not let me go outside because, I mean, it makes sense now that I'm older, I understand, because it would make me sick. So I would say that. There's also tons of other stuff that are, like, more serious. Like, obviously having a family in the future is something that I have to plan out correctly. The medication that I take hydroxyurea. So that is a form of chemo. If I do plan on, you know, having kids, I have to stop that, I believe, 6 months before, because it will affect my pregnancy. If I ever decide to go with these cures that are out there, which I'm going to talk about a little later, I would have to freeze my eggs, because obviously the chemo, not only will I lose my beautiful curly hair, but it can affect my eggs, and like, the radiation is not good. So I would have to freeze my eggs if I wanted kids in the future, which obviously I do. So these are all things that I think about on the daily that, like, obviously stress me out. Next question. How has it inspired your goals? So for me, growing up, I mentioned this a little bit in my Q&A. It definitely changed. Growing up, I always wanted to be a nurse because I had such great nurses that took care of me when I was, in and out of the hospital. But as I spent so much time in the hospital throughout college, I was like, yo, like, I don't want to work in this place. Like, I'm always here. And I think that it would just, like, put me in a bad mood. I don't want to have kids die on me. Like, no, like, I'm okay. I think that me being there when I'm sick is enough. I also have to think about, if I'm sick, how am I gonna work? Like, how am I gonna work 12-hour shifts if I'm so tired on my back? Which sucks. But I think that I have a lot of goals and aspirations and dreams, and I don't know exactly what it is that I want to do, but I love advocating for sickle cell. I love making videos. I love expressing myself on this YouTube channel, whether it's through clothes, fashion, like anything, my lifestyle, any type of videos, honestly. I just love YouTube, and I also really love my art. So anything that I do with my business, whether it's, my drawings, my paintings, which soon will be available for purchase and all of that, I think that that's just my goal. But my ultimate goal in life is literally just to be happy. Like, I want to have a family and I want to be comfortable. I definitely want to be rich, just because my mom obviously sacrificed a lot for me and my sister, and I want to make sure that I am still doing everything in my power to help my mother and my family. People are always saying that sickle cell patients can't, like, work full-time jobs. They can't do this, they can't do that. And yes, we can. So, yeah, I would just say I don't know where I want to go in life yet exactly, but I'm working towards some fun things, and I like what I'm doing now, and I graduate college this May, even though I can't have a real ceremony, but, here I am, almost graduating from Stony Brook University. All these things are things that, people wouldn't expect, and people don't think sickle cell patients can do. So kudos to me, shout outs to me. The next, and I think final question I'm gonna talk about, Asia, another friend of mine who actually has sickle cell, grew up with her. She said, do you trust / would you consider these cures and gene therapies? So I'm actually starting a new treatment tomorrow. It isn't gene therapy or bone marrow transplant or something that would cure me, but it is something that was just approved by the FDA in 2019. And it is an infusion through IV. I don't know too much about it, but I am gonna vlog my experience, so be on the lookout for that video. It's coming out soon. A bone marrow transplant is something that obviously my doctors have spoken to me about. We've tested my sister, she wasn't a match. I was very young when that happened, and we kind of just let it be after that. The complications are insane for someone who donates and isn't your sibling. So I kind of don't want to do that. I do have friends that, I have one friend that was cured through just a random donor. So it is an option, but she went through so many complications with, like, stroke and all this other stuff, and I just, like, I'm terrified. So I think that, like, right now I'm gonna wait off, but gene therapy is something that I definitely am looking into. It's super scary to talk about. Same like the bone marrow transplant. They involve, months and months, almost a year of being in the hospital, going through chemo. I would lose everything, like my hair. My whole face would be different. I would go through, the chemo would weaken my immune system so that obviously they can do the whole change with my gene. So gene therapy is different than a bone marrow transplant because it isn't someone else's, like, genes that I'm rejecting, like a bone marrow transplant. Gene therapy is literally when they take my own genes, modify it, and then put it right back in me, so there's supposed to be less complications, and these are all fairly new, so they're definitely something that take a lot of thought. And yeah, if I do decide to do it, definitely be after I graduate sometime. I just want the timing to be right, and obviously with COVID it's a little scarier, not being able to have anyone there while I'm doing it is tough, and that's in general, even if COVID wasn't a thing. It's an invasive procedure. So I would be, going through that whole process in the hospital by myself. So I definitely am considering gene therapy, but if anything, that's something that would happen in the future. Not right now, but I will keep y'all updated on this new treatment, which is called, I don't even know, hold on. This new treatment is called crisanlizumab, TMCA. Yeah, so I am gonna vlog that. That's happening tomorrow. I'm like shitting bricks, but I have great people who support me. So I wanted to introduce sickle cell to my channel for a while now. So I'm glad I made this video to introduce it to y'all. Again, just please do your research. Please talk to people about sickle cell because it's something that means a lot to me. And there are a lot of people who don't understand sickle cell and who will honestly make me feel trash about it. I've dealt with a lot of a lot of nurses who will come in like, you're not in that much pain, like, why are you crying, stop screaming, like literally like talking to me like that, and just like downplaying how bad sickle cell is and what the pain feels like and how hard it is for us in general. Like I said, I've learned to kind of just brush it off and like cut people out of my life who treat me that way. So if you would like to know more about sickle cell or more sickle cell videos or that kind of stuff, I'm gonna post them anyways if I feel like it, because like I said, this is my channel and I do what I want on my channel. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I know this is a long video, but it's something that means a lot to me, and share this with anyone. I definitely want people to know about this. It's definitely awkward and hard and nerve-wracking, but it's something that I needed to do. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, check out my other ones, like, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more videos coming very soon. I will catch y'all in the next one.